Hey everybody, this is your friendly neighborhood Deadpool here, and I'm here to discuss my sequel, starring Ryan Reynolds, Josh Brolin, Marina Baccarin, Julian Dennison, Zazie Beetz, and T.J. Miller, and directed by one of the guys who killed John Wick, David Leitch. Let's see here. I saw this movie 4 times in theaters, and I'm about to review it as I watched the original cut twice, the one that came out in theaters, versus this extended cut that came with my 4K Blu-ray, and that's another one I watched twice. I saw it now 8 times total. So what do I think of it? Let's get into it. Wade Wilson, returned by Ryan Reynolds, commits suicide. Why? Because 6 weeks ago he fights crime in a bloody way and gets home to Vanessa, returned by Marina Baccarin, for their anniversary and watch a musical movie where they sing "Papa, Can You Hear Me?" Sounds like Do You Want to Build a Snowman from a movie I'll get to later this year, and I'm not looking forward to it, called When I Get There. Believe it or not, I believe it's an overrated movie in my opinion. But I'll get there in November. And also, that movie came out before Frozen. And I think Disney stole that from that movie, which I don't know the name of it off the top of my head. The Papa Can You Hear Me song movie. And I'll talk more about later this November. And I'll talk about it this November. But the point is, Vanessa dies from criminals coming to Wade's place. And he kills all but Vanessa's murderer. But he does chase after him and catches up to him. Throws him in front of a truck, and this opening was rather weird. And the fact he says this movie is a family film, I'm calling bullshit on that, because in the opening credits isn't as funny as the first. Deadpool, and I like the song Celine Dion sings called Ashes. I think it's a good song. Weasel, returned by T.J. Miller, is a character I don't like anymore, because he's more annoying than he ever was in the first film, and treats Dopender very poorly, and again, he's very annoying. Why? Because he's fucking T.J. Miller. Remember that situation in the, whatever that story was, where he says, I'm T.J. Miller, or whatever the fuck that story was about? I don't remember, but I know what it is, though. Blind Al is back, and barely in this movie, and she made no impression on me. But Colossus, a Negasonic teenage warhead, who is dating a girl named Yukio, and we get a younger X-Men cameo, which did look live from footage from next week's movie. And this movie's jokes isn't quite working for me as much as the first film. Cable, played by Josh Brolin, who's from the future, comes to the year this movie happens. And I don't mind him as an anti-hero, and Wade goes with Colossus, a Negasonic teenage warhead, to get Russell, aka Fire Fist, played by Julian Dennison, who was tortured by the owner and his guards, and Wade shoots one of them, and the cops take Russell and Wade to the icebox. That came out of the fucking blue, and this isn't the Deadpool I wanted, or unwanted for that matter. But in the unrated cut, we see Russell and the owner of the orphanage have rather the same idea as we see in flashbacks, and it's rightfully cut, I must say. Cable comes in the icebox to attack Russell, and he fails when he's encountered by Wade. And this is when the movie becomes a cartoon. The first Deadpool versus Cable fight just looks badly choreographed. Wade recruits a team of heroes like Domino, played by Zazie Beetz. Meanwhile, Russell teams up with the biggest guy in the icebox, and Wade recruits Terry Crews, who I never take seriously, Bill Skarsgård, who was Pennywise from the recent It and is going to be in the sequel this September, which I'll get to, Brad Pitt, Shatterstar, and Peter and Wade calls the team X-Force, and all except for Wade and Domino die, and they go rescue Russell to stop Cable from killing Russell, and Wade gets ripped in half by the Juggernaut, And not the same Juggernaut as in X-Men 3. It's just, but it completely looks CGI, and this CGI looked fine at best. Cable asks Wade for help to get the kid, aka Russell, who wants to get vengeance at the orphanage headmaster with the Juggernaut. And Wade with Cable, Doubtbender, and Domino ask for Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead and Yukio's help, but decide not to come, so Wade fight with Cable and Domino and while Doubtbender is in the car to stop Russell from killing the orphans and the orphanage. And their fight with the Juggernaut doesn't go well until Colossus and the X-Men come in to help, and Wade and Cable try to stop Russell while Domino saves the orphans. And Colossus kills Juggernaut by putting an electric plug up the Juggernaut's asshole. And electrocutes him, and Wade talks sense into Russell, but says fuck it. And burns and pushes Wade. And Cable goes for the gun, which all this is fine. But the Annie song put me off. And Wade saves Russell, and Wade dying just took too long. I was like, I want him to just fucking die at this point. Like, the moment when he keeps getting up and talks, I thought, just cut this shit out. Wade can get through the passage of the Vanessa Force wall, as we've got a lot of flashbacks earlier in the film and can't get through. But now, he can. And Cable goes back to the beginning of the fight, and we fast forward to the end of it, and lets Wade get shot by the coin he gave her to her earlier in the film. And Cable stole it at one point, so it made it alive, and lets the boss of the orphanage die on his own, with Doubtbender killing the motherfucker, and the X-Men take off as a family. And during the credits we see Wade going back in time and lets Vanessa live to destroy the Wolverine Origins Deadpool and a Green Lantern Ryan Reynolds. And if you watch the unrated cut, you'll see he kills Hitler as a baby, and all of that is funny, but it just took too long. So yeah, that's my opinion of the movie. Let's get to the rating. I'll give this movie a 6.1 out of 10. This movie has problems, but I did like it, but not as much as Deadpool 1. I felt the 2-hour length of the more I watch it, the less I like it. I've seen this movie 8 times, 4 times in theaters, and twice for the review, for the theatrical, and I watched the unrated twice, and that makes it 8 times total. And this isn't quite as funny as the original Deadpool. I'm just gonna say it now, guys. I thought it was fine, but not a great movie. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next week I will be back with X-Men Dark Phoenix. And until next time, X-Force!